Hello. Welcome back to another coding session on my YouTube channel. Today we are going to cover HTML5 Canvas API and learn the basic gist of what Canvas is, how do we use it, and draw a little bit of graphics using Canvas API as well. So without any further ado, let's start off with the session for today. Now, Canvas API was introduced in HTML5 a long time back, and people have done a lot of good graphics and animations using this API. A good example is 3JS library, which is used for 3D animations. So 3JS internally uses APIs for building graphics. And if you go ahead and see few of the demos here, you will realize the power of Canvas API. So some of these graphics and full animations are built using 3JS, and 3JS internally uses Canvas for building various tools. A few examples which we can see for understanding the power of Canvas API are as follows. So this is the first Codepen which I found on the internet. So as you can see, the animated wallpaper that we see at the back of this website is created using Canvas API. So Canvas API is basically used to draw graphics like this, to create animations and to make rich animated websites like this. The second example which we can go through is the hexagon pattern. This is a really cool pattern which I found on Codepen. So as you can see, there is a hexagon kind of a grid created and it moves outside it. And if we see in the code, we will see that Canvas is used to build this animation. The third animation which I really liked was the falling hearts animation. So this looks like it's beginning of some kind of anime. If you are an anime lover, you might have seen animation like this in few of the intros of animes. So this is basically a falling heart animation and it's also created using Canvas API. So Canvas API is used to build a lot of cool stuff. In today's session, we are just going to go through the basics of Canvas API and how we use it to draw basic graphics and shapes like a rectangle or line or just a simple text. So that's what we are going to cover today. So coming to the core part of the session, let's try and understand how we can use Canvas API to draw rectangle, line and text and eventually move ahead to some other advanced usages if we get time. So I'm just going to open a Codepen. So Codepen is basically an HTML uh, editor in which you can write code and the code preview is shown at the bottom. The first thing that we need whenever we are using any kind of Canvas API is to use a Canvas tag. So for building a Canvas API or using Canvas API, we need to add Canvas as an HTML tag in our code, and we can set some width and height if you want. But the most important thing that we need to do is we need to use an ID. So we can give this an ID to something like my canvas and end it with slash canvas or something like that. And once we add the canvas tag, we can then use this canvas tag to draw some shapes into our page. So in order to draw the pages or in order to draw the graphics using a canvas API, the first thing that we do is we get this canvas ID or this canvas element in our JavaScript. So basically canvas is used to draw graphics using JavaScript. And in our code, what we need to do first is we need to first get the canvas context or the get hold of the HTML tag in our JavaScript code. So for that, we can write code like this. First, we write const canvas is equal to or my canvas if we don't prefer to use that. Then we go with document dot get element by ID. Then we write the ID of our canvas element, which is my canvas. And just so that we are sure that we are getting the canvas, let's just console.log the canvas API. And I'm just going to hit save. So let's just console.log our canvas and see if we are getting the element in our JavaScript code. So we go with my canvas and print out the my canvas variable. We hit save and then we can open the console and check whether we are getting our canvas. As you can see, we have access to our canvas element. The next thing which we need to understand in our canvas is the context. So in case of canvas, we can either draw 2D graphics or we can draw 3D graphics. For 2D graphics, we use get context by ID or something like that. Yeah. So get context, and in that we pass the parameter which is 2D. So 2D stands for 2D graphics or is used for building 2D graphics. If you want to build 3D graphics, then we use the context as WebGL. So WebGL is the core foundational context by which you can draw 3D graphics using Canvas, and 2D is used for building basic 2D graphics. In today's tutorial, we are just going to focus on the 2D graphics just so that we scratch the surface of Canvas API. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to get the context. And for that, we go to our myCanvas variable and we write get context 2D. So using this context, we can draw some shapes into our page. The first shape that we can try to draw is a rectangle. So let's just write rectangle shape. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to use this context. So instead of writing the context completely, we can just write ctx because we use this variable a lot of times in our code. Then ctx dot fill style, if I am correct. And in that, we need to first specify the color of our rectangle. So in this case, we can go with some arbitrary RGB code. So let's just go with some color variable. And then ctx dot fill rect to fill out the rectangle. Now this param takes this method takes 4 coordinates or 4 inputs. The first two are the xy coordinate of the origin of the rectangle. The next two are the width and height. So 50-50 will be the position at which my rectangle will get drawn in this canvas graph, or you can say the canvas board, and 150 would be the width of the rectangle and 100 would be the height. So if I go ahead and add this as 50, 50, 150 and 100 and hit save, we should be able to see a canvas in our page. As you can see, we are able to see a rectangle in our page. Now, if you want to see the entire canvas in which this rectangle is drawn, we can add some style to our canvas variable. So what we can do is we can write hash canvas, I think, and then background color. Or the better way would be to use the ID here, which is my canvas, and in that we can specify some background color. And as you can see, this is my entire canvas board or the canvas element. Right now it has a width, some arbitrary width and some arbitrary height, and within that our rectangle is drawn. If I change this to 0, 0, then my rectangle will get shifted to the start of the canvas element, which is at the origin. So this is my entire canvas board, and within that I am drawing a graphic of rectangle. If I go ahead and draw another rectangle with some different color, so let's just say this is 200, and let's just change this to 200 and 200. So the first rectangle will get drawn at the origin, and the second rectangle will get drawn at the, let's just go with 100, 100, and it's saved. So this is my first rectangle and this is my second rectangle, which is getting drawn at 100, 100 origin with the width of 150, and since the height is more than the canvas board, it got shifted to outside of the board. So this is basically how you can draw rectangles in the Canvas API. The next graphics which we can cover is the line. So let me just comment out this code and let's just see how to draw lines in our Canvas API or using Canvas API. So for lines, we use the line2 method, and the code is something like this. First, we specify the starting index of our line. For example, 60, 60 will be the starting index for our line here. Then you specify the end coordinate. So in my canvas graph, if this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis, then what we do is we first specify the starting index of the line, and then we specify the ending index of the line, or the end coordinate, xy coordinate basically. So in this case, 60, 60 will be my starting point of the line, and 200, 200 will be the end xy coordinate of the line. Then ctx.stroke method is used to draw the line in our code. Let's just see this in our Codepen. So for line, we go with ctx dot move to. Let's just set this to 0, 0 for now. Then ctx dot line to. Let's just go with 100, 100. And then we go with ctx dot stroke. and we hit save. So as you can see, we have drawn a line which starts from the origin of our canvas. The origin of the canvas, which is 0, 0, starts at the initial first pixel of the canvas board. So this is my origin. Here the 0, 0 variable is set to the origin of the canvas, and then we are drawing a line which stretches to 100, 100 index. So this is basically how you can draw lines using the canvas variable. And the third part which we can cover today is the text using the canvas variable. So for text variable, we use fill text method, and in that we can specify some text which we can draw in our canvas board. So for text, we can specify the font using ctx.font variable as well. So let's just see this with an example. So we first go with ctx.font and specify the font size. I don't remember the code for text. Let me just add it from the article. So we specify the font which is 30 pixels Arial, and we use fill text method to add some text. Now if I specify this to 0, 0, so fill text method takes three params. First is the text, second is the again origin coordinate, and the last is the size. So if I specify this as 20 and this as 20 as well, then we get the text here. So basically this is how we use fill text method to draw. I am not sure about the fill text param. Let's just check. So yeah, XY coordinates of the text are specified in the text param. So yeah. So in this case, we can use this LOL text into our code. So this is the basic introduction to Canvas API. Then another thing which we can learn from this is the difference between fill and stroke. So fill is used to fill the shape or fill the color. Stroke is used to stroke or create the rectangle. So in this case, if I uncomment my rectangle shape, and there is another method which is called as stroke rect, which can be used to create a rectangle, but which is hollow. So in this case, if I go with stroke rectangle, I will get a rectangle like this, but it won't be filled. So for that, let me just go ahead and uncomment my fill rect code. And instead of fill rect, if I go with stroke rect, I can get a rectangle which is not filled basically. So the difference between stroke and rect is when we use fill rect, the rectangle gets filled up with color, and if you use stroke rect, then the rectangle is not filled and we get an outline like this. So that's the difference between stroke and fill in canvas. So stroke is used to draw empty shapes and fill is used to draw filled shapes. Now you can play around with a lot of stuff within Canvas API, and let me just show a few of the examples. So you can even create animation like the Pac-Man characters like this using Canvas API. So this also uses similar kind of code, but in this case we have used some extra additional code which you can find at the ambient docs. So the best resource to learn about Canvas API is the ambient docs. So if you search for Canvas API and go to the ambient docs, they have a lot of examples and a lot of ways in which you can use. So you can even use images into your code to draw the images. And I think I have created images as well. So image pattern is used. So you can create a pattern or add an image to the Canvas API. Then there are tons of stuff that you can do. You can even create clocks using Canvas API. So I'm not trying to cover this today because it might take a larger amount of time to understand all this, but this was the core introduction to Canvas API, and there are tons of stuff that you can do using even just the 2D Canvas API. And that's it from my end for today for learning about Canvas. So I just wanted to give a brief introduction of how Canvas works and how you can draw basic graphics using Canvas. In future sessions, we will see if we can go with the advanced usage of Canvas API. So that's it from my end for today. Goodbye and have a nice day.